So it's pretty shitty here. Decided to wax some relics. I just got this one back from the sandblaster dude with my instruction to only sandblast half and leave the oxidation on this side and just take it down here. Cool 290. There's something here, but you can't really see it. So just gonna wax some stuff here. Check this thing out. It's just a solid piece of steel. I think it's just a blank so that they could melt it and use it for something. Not exactly sure what it is, but it's sandblasted. It's got a crazy circular design on each end of it, and it's rounded on the edges. Anybody knows what that is? It might be something like this. Maybe something that rolled. I mean, I don't know. Maybe, like I said, it could be a blank. I like doing the half and half sandblast, but I also like some of these parts that are totally sandblasted. Look at this. So here's some more stuff, right? Here's pieces I already waxed. They look rusty because I left the rust on them and I just boiled the hell out of them in the wax. But this piece, these pieces have been blasted and they haven't been waxed yet. These are all parts that I metal detected. These were not surface finds. You can tell anything that's in the ground is going to be more rusty than a part of it that's sticking out. So these were in the ground for about 100 years. These weird parts. But look at this thing. Wow. You couldn't see any of that when before the sandblast. Does anybody know what any of this is? Look what it says there. Gosh. Not sure. Weird part. But there's several parts that I find similar, but they're not the same. See, this thing is similar to it, but it's not the same size. And then this thing, same thing. It's similar to it, but not the same size. And it says 167. Isn't that freaking neat? What is it? They might be brake parts for the train. Here's a unique piece right here. Look at this thing. It had a bunch of concretion on it. I'm lucky there's any left. But, I mean, look at this thing. What the heck is that? Right? Into the wax. We don't have a whole lot of water touching this, so I was super bored. I had to do something. But anyway, we're gonna wax these things. Here's a I shouldn't even be telling you this, so I'm not. This thing right here is I found it in in an old barn in the middle of nowhere, and I'm gonna preserve it. You know, it looks like here's the collar that went on the horse, maybe, and here's the blinders. Here's a blinder. Here's a blinder. I'm not sure what the term for these things are, but here are the parts that were close to it in the place, so I took those too. I didn't want to leave them behind. Look at that. Wow. It used to be there and it got stuck. With this, I found a pair of Carhartt overalls. And when I asked it, I took a picture and gave it to AI. It said it was from the 20s. So look at this. I'm not taking them out because I don't want to get hantavirus, but they were chewed up pretty good by rats. There's some old stuff I found on Saluda Grade sitting on the train track berm. These two cups and this dish were sitting on the train track berm. It's probably like a, God, what kind of, see my street right there? It's super steep. It's steeper than that. So it's kind of like I was standing on the mountain like this and found these pieces there. Not this, but these two. And they were sitting there for an awfully long time. So here are the Carhartt. Let's see if I can show it. I'm going to, yeah, I have the piece that says Carhartt upside down. It says it right here on the button. And it's the old Carhartt way they did it. Now it looks different, you know, they changed the logo. But you know, look at all these crazy parts. All right. I got, these are all dishes I found. Parts of dishes near the train track. So they must have thrown them off the train. Because who else carries dishes up near a train track hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of feet away? Here's some other stuff. Look at this. I metal detected this out of the ground in Saluda. So look at the back of this thing. Looks like you put Play-Doh in there and crush it and then pull your Play-Doh out. All right, that's just one of hundreds of things. Look at all my glass insulators I found. This crazy piece right here. I mean, I had to take that. Why would you just take the glass if you're physically capable of getting this whole thing out of the mountain? I mean, it's heavy. I had to carry it out, bud. And I had my backpack and all my gear with me. And I'm going to get some resin, and those 2-part resin kits. And I'm going to pour the resin all over the wood. It's very rotten, and I don't want it to come apart. So I'm going to pour the resin all over the wooden part to preserve it. And then I'm going to put it in a gigantic shadow box. It's going to be about, you know, it's going to be about the size of this shutter. And I'm going to encase this in the shadow box and do some crazy fonts and stuff with it. Telling what it is, like a plaque and the blah, 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 blah. And it's going for sale. All of my cool stuff is for sale. These have all been treated with a sandblast and waxed for a couple of hours. Looks like some of them need to be waxed a little longer, but in order to keep them from rusting again real quick, I had to get them in the wax. This is one of my pieces of art. I had my guy sandblast half of it. So you got the concretion with the oxidation here, with rocks and oxidation stuck to it. And on the other side, it's sandblasted. So you can see the half and half, the two face. Here's another one, same thing. See that? It's 50-50. So you can see what the rust did to the steel. The pock marks in the steel are what's missing. And then, so that's what this thing used to look like, buddy. Check this thing out. These are pieces I've metal detected. Here's a real fabulous piece right here. I don't know what it is. It's just a piece of steel. It's been sandblasted and waxed. Have no idea what it is. Here are things that don't need to be waxed. This is lead. It's solder. I found this up near the train tracks. I find these all the time. I find these things, this melted lead, and I also find strips that are man-made strips. They're flat and they're about 3/8 of an inch wide, and I find these all over the place, under rocks, under tree roots. They must have did a lot with this lead. All right, I found this under the trestle bridge on Melrose. There's got to be more tools. I've been there a bunch of times. Look, here is a gigantic, don't know what. I found this in the river, Pearson Falls Road. It was about 6 inches in the riverbed sand. So again, here's a 50-50 piece. This part's been sandblasted, and this part right here is concretion and oxidation together, and it's been waxed, so it's not going to keep rusting. The water's been boiled out of it. Thank you, Aqua Chigger. All right, this thing is the craziest thing. I got a video where I found this. It's on my YouTube. It's a really crazy piece. There was a piece of metal in here. There's some of it right there. But most of it, well, it looks like it's still there, but some of it rusted away. And there's a 2 here. And there's another number here. You can't quite see. Really the craziest thing ever. Looks like some sort of hammer. It looks like it hammered something. It was incorporated with another piece of steel. And it looked like it clipped in. And it looks like it hammered something on a machine. I'm not sure. But you can see the separate metal right here. It's separate from this steel here. But it's in and on it. And it's quite remarkable. These things right here were very, very long tubes of steel. And what these things did was hold the train track down. They pounded these things into the ground. And they were deep. And every so often you'll see one of these. They're crazy. This is also a clip that was incorporated with this thing. This thing and this thing incorporated were parts to hold down the train track wood. And also the steel. Not the wood. The steel to the wood. Blah, 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 blah. And these things went over the piece of steel and went deep, deep, deep into the ground. This one right here is cut with an acetylene torch. You can clearly see that was cut with a torch. There's some spider webs here. It's very sharp. This one was sandblasted and I waxed it, but you can see the acetylene cut. Quite astonishing. They might have cut it off to get it out to replace some track. Here is an amazing find that I found under the ground. Gosh, it just kills me when I see this. You can still see the thread. An incredible axe. This was a surface find at a house I was living at. Says something right there. I'm not exactly sure. It's very hard to see. Threw that in the wax. See, it's starting to melt. This thing right here is just a solid piece of steel cut on all 4 sides of it by the acetylene torch. just like this thing. So you can clearly see it's similar kind of a cut. And that's what they did. They used acetylene gas to cut it. Wow. All right. This thing here, don't know what it is. Obviously some sort of clip. You clip something onto it. This one needs to be waxed again. You can see it's starting to leach out some rust. I didn't really boil this one that long, so that's gonna go in too. Really great nail. Look at this thing. Look at the head of it. You spend a lot of money on these kind of things on Amazon. Like you want to hammer it in your door. Look at that, like a clavos, those old clavos that you put on your door. It looks like a medieval nails and stuff. I mean, that's you know, more of that stuff. I got a video of when I found this. This was an astonishing find because this was in a root system of a tree, and this was there before the tree existed. Clearly the tree grew around it. And just killer nuts, man. Look at these nuts. They're waxed, sandblasted and waxed. Looks like some of these need to be re-waxed. I kind of flash waxed them, you know. This thing's crazy, just a bar of steel. Look at that. I love it. Another piece of this weird thing. There's all kinds of different parts that are similar. They got a curled up edge. There's two curled up edges. Looks like they hook into another thing. I find these all over the place. See, here's another different variety. ASCE 86. Then it says something here. Here's you know, I got a video of this octagon flange. I found it Christmas. If you go back on my YouTube, you can see me pull this out of the ground. This was you know, 3.5 inches below the surface of the dirt. It sat there for a long time. I would imagine leaves just fell on it until it became dirt. And I pulled this out Christmas Day. Here's a bunch of steel pieces that screw into the wood so that you can put these insulators and stuff. You know, here's this. Don't tell me that isn't amazing to you. Here's a bunch of more stuff that I forgot to show. I waxed these last week. Here's the old dirty hoe in my old dirty hoe video. Here's an amazing piece. Look at this thing, man. What in the hell is that? Here is our agricultural tool. It was put on a machine and it dug the ground up. So you can see that second piece of steel. It's something like this, but different. There's a piece of steel here incorporated into the metal, just like this. But this is different. Obviously, it jammed into the ground. There's a broken piece right here. You can see a rivet that holds this piece on. And the rivet goes through this piece of metal. And here's the other part of the part they riveted on. And here's the broken part right here. You can look these up. I looked them up. AI is a great tool for this. Look at this thing, man. Just sitting. This was a surface find. Just some old strapping. Great stuff like this blows my mind. I love these old nails. It just depends on what they look like. Here's an old cement looking nail. Look at this ridiculous thing. I got a video when I found this. This thing right here was sitting next to this. And one of the bottles that I found similar was in the berm with it. So all these parts were, they just threw them into the berm. They were building this train track. And if something needed to be discarded, they just threw it into it. The berm goes for miles. It goes, shit, man. Anywhere there's a train track, there's a berm. So whenever you see the train track, it's built up on a small hill. Dudes built that. And they discarded parts like this all over the place. It goes on and on. These are all pieces of steel. Don't know what that is. Here's a nut. I didn't want them to sandblast it. It's just encased in concretion. Rust and rocks over the years. This thing's crazy. Check her out. Wow. Yeah, and just a bunch of smaller stuff like this. And just old communication technology. Found that. Look at that. Look at all the spiders. This says 1984. Look at that. Oh. So I got off on a tangent. I have to have this blasted again. But this is one of the best things I've ever found. But look at this thing. Okay. Oh, just kills me every time I see this. Look at this thing. What do you think? Looks like a piece of glass was here. Here's the little catch. Probably opened up. Here's the designs all over it. Still visible. It came off the track and broke. Fortunately, I have it. It's perfect. This is going to make a nice piece of artwork. This one I didn't have blasted. I just put it in wax. Some of these need to be waxed some more. Like I said, this piece here was, I have a video of it. It was, this part of it was inside a tree root and the dirt. And this part wasn't. So you can see when something's buried, it rusts quicker. The soil has stuff in it to help steel rust away quicker than oxygen and water and sun and rain. The thing shut off. It's got an emergency shut off. Where did I put it? There it is. It goes off in 15 minutes if you don't hit the button. So we're gonna get this going and I'll do a video when I'm done.